Oh my God. Oh my God, it's done. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Like, we just put out a video yesterday, we're talking about this, guys, but we weren't talking about this, you know, we were talking about Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic, and I mean, this was a part of it, but the fact that it's done, like, it's done. I can't believe it. We were wrong. All of us, the shit talkers, we were wrong. All the, like, team fumble the bag, fumbled the bag, making YouTube videos saying that he was going to fumble the bag. All right, that's what happened here. I cannot believe that they actually got it done. It's going to go down in Saudi Arabia, I think, on October 28th, and Dana must be fuming because there was a couple of us guys talking about how, like, even if this did happen, the UFC is going to, like, move in and crush that weekend and put on a massive pay-per-view that weekend. But let's just slow down. First of all, Francis Ngannou. Wow. Well done, and wow. Amazing work. I did not think that this deal was going to happen. I can't believe that they actually got it through. They got the contract signed. We have a date. Like, I can't believe it. He's going to be fighting this year. Like, a lot of the naysayers were talking about, oh, the inactivity. Like, the inactivity is no longer a problem. He's still going to be fighting once a year, which is barely enough for a fighter to stay relevant, but he's going to be doing it. So, good on Francis Ngannou. He is a contracted MMA fighter, like, with one of the worst organizations in MMA. I don't like their bracket structure. I don't think it makes for competitive fights if fighters are trying to stay in it too long. And I don't like that you're not allowed to elbow an opponent, but that's fine. He's a contracted MMA fighter. He's going to be getting pay-per-view points. Plus, he can go out and box at the same time as well. And he didn't land some low-level boxer. He landed Tyson fucking Fury. Oh my God, I'm in shock. I don't believe this week of MMA news, watching it all go down is too much. It's too much for me. It's like, I can't take it. I'm going to have PTSD from this week. I'm going to look at things being so certain about what's going forward. Like, Jon Jones is going to beat Stipe Miocic. And now my nerves are shocked. Like, is he? Is he? Is he? Remember the week. Remember this week, guys. Even if Francis Ngannou loses that fight, and I believe he's going to lose that fight, even if he loses that fight, it doesn't matter. He's getting the payday. He's going back to MMA. Like, it's all good for Francis. So well done, Francis. Like, Dana White must be fuming because the UFC is fucked when it comes to outclassing Francis Ngannou that weekend. They have a pay-per-view in Abu Dhabi the week before Francis Ngannou's pay-per-view. Islam Makhachev versus no one right now. Jon Jones is already booked in to fight Stipe Miocic. Israel Adesanya seems to already be booked in for Sydney, and we don't even know who he's going to be fighting. It might be Dricus, it might be Strickland, it might be someone else. And Conor McGregor can't fight. He only just got into the USADA pool. Nate Diaz is out of the sport. Masvidal is out of the sport. The lightweight division is already booked up for different dates. They cannot put on an event that weekend that is going to compete with the amount of money that Francis Ngannou is going to make, which is one of the big theories that was coming into this weekend. Like, the UFC are going to put on such a big show that it's going to sink Ngannou's pay-per-view numbers and he'll never be seen as a pay-per-view star again. That theory is pretty much out the window. Even if they do put on a banger card at Abu Dhabi, I don't see how they can. Like, you've got to have Chimaev versus someone. That's a good card. You could do Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington, but you really want to do that in London. But yeah, you could do that in Abu Dhabi. And then you've got Islam Makhachev versus someone, but that someone isn't going to be Volk. Volk has to have surgery, and that someone isn't going to be Oliveira. Oliveira just pulled out of the fight. That someone can't be Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is ineligible to fight at the moment. That someone can't be Dustin Gaethje. They're going to have a war, boys. They're going to have an absolute war. They're going to be too beat up to fight in Abu Dhabi. Neither of them are going to be dumb enough to take that fight after just undergoing a war with each other. They are getting to the age now and at the stage in their career where they have got one shot left at lightweight gold. It doesn't matter how much money they're going to throw it at, especially Dustin. Dustin's already banked up from the Conor fights. Even if Abu Dhabi has Islam Makhachev versus a great name that isn't there at the moment, has Leon versus Colby, has Chimaev fighting on it. That is just a really good pay-per-view for the UFC. It's booked in at the wrong date, and even that pay-per-view isn't good enough to compete with how many people are going to be interested to see the what if of Francis Ngannou placing a fist on Tyson Fury's face. I do believe Fury is going to win. It's a boxing fight. Now, look, I'm not going to pretend to be like a diehard boxing fan. The most I know about boxing is when the MMA crossovers happen. To assume that a man like Tyson Fury playing in his field under his own rules is going to be better than Francis Ngannou coming over to his sport. Like, I think that's a safe assumption to make, although this week is making me feel like there are no safe assumptions to make. That's just how I feel about that fight going down. As for Dana White, I spoke about this a little bit yesterday, but it's just happened so quickly. Like, I woke up and saw this news and I was like, we gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta have a chat. We gotta talk about this. I woke up, saw that news, and I thought Dana is going to be fuming. I expect the UFC to put out some big news because that's what the UFC has been doing throughout this entire situation. Anytime that Francis has a little bit of news, the UFC puts out really big news. When Francis signed to the PFL, that's what we got UFC 291 announced. When this news was talked about maybe happening, that's when we got Jones versus Stipe announced. But now that this news has actually like come out, it's official, it's locked in, we have a date, now we need to compete with it. I don't see what we have as UFC fans, as Team UFC. I don't see what the UFC has to compete with that sort of a pay-per-view. And Dana has already fucked. It's so rare to see Dana make mistakes like this. He's already messed up in a way where he wanted that Fury fight and he was hyping that Fury fight up. And what he usually does with these crossovers is he usually like plays them down like he doesn't care. It's going to be very hard to see him backtrack from that. I don't know how he's going to be playing this down. The media are going to be like, you wanted this fight. You failed to get this fight. You're Mr. We get the deal done. You didn't get the deal done. It is going to be crazy to watch how Dana plays this down and what moves the UFC is going to be making in the next 48 hours and how, like, do they even bother trying to overstuck that Abu Dhabi card? Because I don't see them being at, without Conor McGregor, I don't see them being able to make a pay-per-view that competes with that. So maybe we're just going to revert into that game of, I'm not talking about that. We're not even going to mention that. We're just going to let this one slide over us. But Francis Ngannou got the bag, got the MMA contract, got the dance partner, got Dana to say that it was a good fight and tried to buy the fight himself. Francis Ngannou won. Guys, let me know down in the comments. Do you think Francis Ngannou has a chance? Are you happy for Francis? Were you team fumbled the bag? Like, be honest with yourself. Like, during the last 6 months where you're like, Francis is never going to get this deal done. No one cares about the PFL. Be honest with yourselves. Let me know down in the comments. And if you're enjoying these videos, maybe consider subscribing, guys. I'll see you all in the next one.